You're nodding along, completely drawn in. Their story is fascinating, until one day doesn't match. A name changes, and just like that, you realize you haven't been talking to a person. You've been talking to a performance. And what happens next, inside their brain, is darker than most people ever realize. Most of us lie sometimes. A small stretch to protect someone's feelings, a quick excuse to avoid conflict. That's normal. But for the pathological liar, the truth isn't neutral. The truth is a threat. This behavior has a clinical name, pseudologia fantastica. It isn't just occasional dishonesty, it's a persistent, compulsive pattern of lying, often 5 or more lies per day, every day, for at least 6 months. And here's the part that genuinely unsettles people. What they had for lunch, which route they took home. Nobody has anything to gain from those lies, and that's exactly what makes them so disturbing. Psychologist Paul Ekman identified something called duping delight. It's the intense thrill that comes from successfully controlling what someone else believes about reality. For a pathological liar, the content of the lie doesn't matter. The act of lying is the drug. Every time they slip a false belief past your radar, their brain gets a dopamine hit. It's the same loop as a gambling addiction. The stakes don't matter, the game does. But maintaining this lifestyle, neurologically, it's brutal. Here's something that will change how you see these people. Brain imaging shows that pathological liars have significantly more white matter in their prefrontal cortex, the region that builds stories, makes connections, and processes language at speed. It makes them gifted storytellers. But they have less gray matter, the part responsible for moral restraint and impulse control. Their brain is a high-powered engine with no brakes. To keep the simulation from crashing, their mind runs at full capacity every single minute, tracking your face for doubt, making sure this new lie doesn't contradict one told 3 weeks ago. And it almost always started in childhood. Pathological lying rarely begins as a choice. It begins as survival. These individuals often grew up in environments where the truth was genuinely unsafe. Maybe the punishment for small mistakes was extreme. Maybe they felt invisible and learned that the only way to be noticed was to be extraordinary or in crisis. They carry those survival scripts into adulthood. Beneath every fabricated story is a single fragile belief. My real self is not enough to be loved. They aren't just lying to escape trouble. They're trying to hallucinate a better version of themselves into existence, using you as the mirror. Now here's the part most people find impossible to understand. When you confront them with texts, emails, receipts, they don't break down and confess. They look genuinely hurt, or they get angry, like you're the one lying. That's not performance. That's something far more unsettling. Because human memory is reconstructive. Telling the same fabricated story over and over with real emotion causes the brain to eventually accept the fiction as an actual memory. They have gaslit themselves so completely that they believe their own narrative. In their mind, you aren't exposing the truth. You are attacking it. And here's the real tragedy. They may be surrounded by people, partners, friends, coworkers, but they are profoundly alone. Because everyone around them loves the performance, not the person. They love the mask. And some part of the pathological liar knows that. They live in a permanent state of imposter syndrome. They can never truly rest, never be fully seen. They're travelers who burned their own passports, moving from city to city, reinventing themselves for strangers, hoping that with the next story, they'll finally feel real. You cannot logic someone out of a behavior they built to survive. And while you may need to walk away for your own well-being, you get to do so knowing something important. You get to go home to the truth. You get to be loved for who you actually are. They do not. Thank you for watching. If this made you think of someone in your life, share it with someone who needs to see it. And if you want to understand the psychology behind other behaviors like this, please do subscribe.